So we have heard in a previous chapter that those with bad qualities, they are barred from entering the heavenly planets. What is interesting about that? It is obviously difficult to get there. The demons, they convert heaven into hell when they conquer a place. So it is not possible for us to understand what the consciousness of the demigods is like. Because we tend to think if we see if we see Indra doing something, for example, if I would be doing that same act, my consciousness would be in a specific way, similar to Indra's. But when we act, it is completely different. It is not impelled by the lower modes of material nature, as we are impelled. Although it may appear that the demigods have qualities which are similar to ours, very fallen beings, and the inhabitants of Kali Yuga, they do not have the same qualities as us. We can say that it is not like my consciousness. It's very difficult. It is extremely subtle. So how did the heavenly planets look like? We have heard, yeah, there are branches of trees overloaded with fruits, expert musicians, nice smelling fragrances we heard. Everything auspicious. There is subtle goodness, auspicious. But the devotees are not interested in going there. And then there is Janaloka, Tapaloka, much more higher, still more subtle, and that is key in understanding these places. The more subtle one's consciousness is, the more one can enjoy on a subtle level. So, although we can't prove it on one level, but the people who really like to sit next to the speakers during heavy metal rock concerts, they get a certain type of pleasure out of that. Otherwise they would not do that. Or at another side, the people that get pleasure from a very fine symphonic orchestra, Bach, Beethoven, Tchaikovsky. The people who get pleasure from that, one gets pleasure of music and the other gets pleasure of music. But one who is sitting next to the speaker at a rock concert, he will say that I'm enjoying as much as you. But actually it is not. Because gross compared to subtle. One has to study very hard even and it helps to experience the subtleties in music. Heavy metal music is easy to enjoy. Just place yourself in it. It's gross. It's gross and subtle. So the heavenly planets are subtle. And they are gross compared to Janaloka, Tapaloka, Brahmaloka. Everything there is more subtle, but on the material level. And spiritual and transcendental is by definition beyond the subtle. And the transcendental place is composed of different substances altogether. There are no modes of material nature, no goodness, no passion, and no ignorance on the spiritual level. Neither heavy metal nor Stravinsky, that None of that at all, but something most wonderful. It's Krishna's potency. It is Satchitananda Vigra on the spiritual level. So Bali had taken over the heavenly planets. Why did he do it by the potency of his spiritual master? Because to be situated on the subtle plane, it takes an incredible amount of piety. Just to do something gross requires impiety. You do not need very much. Just be impious and you can enjoy anything in the mode of ignorance. It is subtlety that takes piety. Bali did not have the requisite piety to be the king of heaven, but Indra had that. So by the next Manvantar, Bali has earned his piety and he will become Indra. So by the material pious blessings by Sukracharya, Bali conquered the heavenly planets. He became so powerful that it wasn't by his own piety. It was by the piety of Sukracharya. So then what happened? So we are going to hear about the heavenly planets with Bali in charge. From the end of chapter 15, after he conquered the heavenly planets by the power of Sukracharya, Bali will perform 100 Asvamedha sacrifices. So to get entrance to the heavenly planets, you need piety. And to maintain your position in heaven you need even more piety. So maintenance is much more difficult than creation. Creation is all fun, it's all passion. But to maintain it, it's, oh goodness, it's boring. You have to clean it and make sure all pieces are oiled. We cannot experience any of the great creative ecstasies that maintenance takes so much piety. To maintain his position on the advice of Sukracharya, knowing that he did not have the piety of Indra, as he took over the heavenly planets by force, he began his Asvamedha sacrifices to increase his piety. So, if we want to become king of heaven, or go to heaven and enjoy the fragrances that we have to then we have to increase our piety. To go to Golok Vrindavan, we need to increase our love for Krishna to the degree that there is nothing else. So that there is nothing else than devotion in our consciousness. We all want to go to Golok Vrindavan. Are we willing to pay that price? Or do we want to keep a corner in our consciousness for me? For myself? Do what we want to do instead of having Krishna in? Do we want to do what we want or instead of having Krishna in the center? Are we willing to pay that price? Are we able to pay the price is something different. One must be very pure and very sincere. Now we will hear about the mother Aditi. First, a conversation between Aditi and her husband Kashyapa Muni. Kashyapa Muni had been away for a very long time. He was in Masamadhi, that mystical contemplation. And he came back home and he saw that Aditi was morose. Of course, she will explain why. That the demons had taken over the heavenly planets and her sons were thrown out. And then Kashyapa Muni will advise her, first to philosophy, but she will not accept the philosophy. She wanted something practical to get her sons back. And then we have Kashyapa Muni will explain her the process of worship of Payavrata. Paya means milk, Vrata means vow, only drinking milk. And while doing that, engaging in the process of deity worship, we will see these are the activities we do in the temple. There's a process of devotional service, he explained to her. So I will start with reading text 1, and after that you can also read. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Shisuka uvacha evam putresu nastesu devamata ditistada rete trivestape daityai paryatapyat anatavat. Shisuka Dev Goswami said, O king, when Aditi's sons, the demigods, had thus disappeared from heaven and the demons had occupied their places, Aditi began lamenting if she had no protector. So she lost what she thought to be the most important thing, that her sons were ruling the heavenly planets. So she began to lament. So who is Aditi's husband? Is Kashyapa Muni. Before, in the third canto, we read about Diti serving her husband to get a child. She was pleasing him for her own purposes, a type of business dealing, duplicitous. She wanted to have the child immediately. The result of that was horrible. The result was the union was Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha. Then in the same canto we have Kardama Muni and Devahuti. She tried to please her husband, and the result of that union was Kapila Muni, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Two opposite results, a demon and the Lord. The wives were trying to please her husband and pleased their husband, but the results were completely different because of their mentality, duplicity, and simplicity of heart. And then at the end of the sixth canto, Diti tried to please Kashyapa Muni again. Diti was very, very angry. Why? Her beloved Asuric children, the Daityas, two of them had been killed, and she didn't blame Vishnu, but she blamed Indra. She wanted to kill Indra. But Kashyapa Muni, having being fooled one time, after she pleased him, he had a different mood. And he realized that he needed to give her a benediction that is going to purify her. So what he did was engaging her in the Lord's worship to such a degree that she gave up the enmity with Vishnu and the Maruts were born. It is a wonderful pastime, as Diti became completely purified by the process of devotional service. And Indra was serving her, and because she was performing devotional service, Indra was also purified. As a result, the Maruts were not demons, but they were made demigods. So that is the third instance. And this here is the fourth one. Aditi was lamenting. Okay. Can someone read the translation of text 2, 3, and 4?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Maharaj.
Please.
Text 2, translation. After many, many days, the great powerful sage Kashyap Muni arose from a trance of meditation and returned home to see the ashram of Aditi, neither jubilant nor festive. Text 3, translation. O best of the Gurus, when Kashyap Muni had been properly received and welcomed, he took his seat and then spoke as follows to his wife Aditi, who was very morose. Text form translation. O most gentle one, I wonder whether anything inauspicious has now taken place in regard to religious principles, the Brahmanas, or the people in general, who are subject to the whims of death.
Thank you, thank you. We will not read everything because otherwise we will not be able to finish by the end of the week. Because this is a long chapter and we have to finish it today. So in 6 verses here, Kashyapa Muni will inquire about the inauspiciousness that seems to pervade his ashram. Kashyapa Muni inquired whether Aditi did something inauspicious while he was enwrapped in trance. So someone else can read text 5, only the text.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
O my wife, who were very much attached to household life, if the principle of religion, economic development, and satisfaction of the senses are properly followed in household life, one's activities are as good as those of a transcendentalist. I wonder whether there have been any discrepancy in following this principle.
Thank you. So because there was moroseness and unhappiness, it seemed there must be some fault. So we'll come back to this purport later. Text 6. Can someone read?
I,
Yeah.
I wonder whether because of being too attached to the members of your family, you failed to properly receive uninvited guests, who therefore were not welcomed and went away.
So here is another cause of inauspiciousness. At Titi bath, if an unexpected guest comes to the house and is not received well, then that is not a cause of inauspiciousness. Text 7.
Homes from which guests go away without having been received, even with an offering of a little water, are like those holes in the field which are the homes of jackals.
Yes. So who lives in the field in holes that are homes of jackals? So, of course, jackals, of course. So people who do not receive guests properly are compared to jackals. Text 8. Yeah, can someone else read text 8?
O chaste and auspicious woman, when I left home for other places, were you in so much anxiety that you did not offer oblations of ghee into the fire?
Yes, so did you not perform religious principles properly? Have you not treated guests properly? Did you not offer oblations in the sacrificial fire properly? Text 9:10.
By worshipping the fire and the Brahmanas, a householder can achieve the desired goal of residing in the higher planets. For the sacrificial fire and the Brahmanas are to be considered the mouth of Lord Vishnu, who is the supersoul of all the demigods.
Okay, I'm going now back to text 5. So we have heard this conversation now, and this is the purport. So the face is the index of the mind. Srila Prabhupada, purport to text 5, first sentence. Yeah.
In this verse, Aditi has been addressed by her husband Kashyap Muni as a Griha Medini, which means one who is satisfied in household life for sense gratification.
You can continue reading until Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha.
Generally, those who are in household life pursue sense gratification in the field of activities performed for material results. Such Grahamedis have only one aim in life, sense gratification. Therefore, it is said, Yan Matunadi Grahamedi Sukham Hitucham. Bhagavatam 7:9-45. The householder's life is based on sense gratification, and therefore the happiness derived from it is very meager. Nonetheless, the Vedic process is so comprehensive that even in householder life, one can adjust his activities according to the regulatory principles of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha.
Thank you. So Dharma for materialists is meant for Artha, wealth, and wealth is meant to get calm, the fulfillment of desires, and Moksha is generally not thought of. That's liberation. Now, just a moment. Yeah. So one's aim should be to achieve liberation, but because one cannot at once give up sense gratification, that in the Shastras there are injunctions prescribing how to follow the principles of religion and economic development and sense gratification. So this is what materialist people wish to enjoy. Even Dharma makes them feel good and pious. Wealth, security, calm, power, and enjoyment. So the Vedic culture allowed to fulfill these desires in such a way that one will step forward to the absolute. So now, so as explained in, you can read till the end from as explained in Srimad
As
Bhagavatam.
explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2-9, Dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthayu pakalpate. All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should not be performed for material gain. Those who are in household life should not think that religion is meant to improve the process of the householder's sense gratification. Household life is also meant for advancement in spiritual understanding, by which one can ultimately gain liberation from the material clutches. One should remain in household life with the aim of understanding the ultimate goal of life, Tattva Jigyasa. Then household life is as good as the life of a yogi. Kashyap Muni therefore inquired from his wife whether the principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification were being properly followed in terms of the Shastric injunctions. As soon as one deviates from the injunctions of the Shastra, the purpose of household life is immediately lost in confusion.
So that means as soon as one deviates from the injunctions of the Shastra, the purpose of household life is immediately lost in confusion. What does that mean? If we follow the Shastra, even for getting these materialistic aims, Dharma, Artha, and Kam, then we will be elevated. But if we don't follow the Shastra, then we will be degraded. And then one is immediately lost in confusion. So the next is a small purport. I will read. So it is the duty of a householder to receive guests, even if a guest be an enemy. So in other words, no excuses. You must receive. When a guest comes to one's home, then yes, even even, yeah, one must host even an enemy. So this is culture that, so further, according to one's position, one should probably receive anyone who comes to one's home. At least a seat and a glass of water should be offered, so that the guest will not be displeased. Kashyapa Muni inquired from Aditi whether disrespect had been shown to such guests or Atithis. The word Atithi refers to one who comes without an invitation. So that so the point being here is that the neglect the neglect of hosting and invited guests would be the cause of our moroseness. That, so then we read here the next purport. Can someone read this purport of 8?
In a field, there may be holes made by snakes and mice, but when there are very big holes, it may be supposed that jackals live there. Certainly, no one goes to take shelter in such homes. Thus, the homes of human beings, where atithis, uninvited guests, are not properly received, are like the homes of jackals.
Yes. That, so now we can go further to text 11. So this is the reply of Aditi. What is the cause of our moroseness? That, O my respected Brahman husband, all is well with the Brahmins, the cows, the religion, and the welfare of other people. O master of the house, the three principles of Dharma, Artha, and Kam flourish in household life, which is consequently full of good fortune. That, someone can read this purport, please.
In household life, one can develop the three principles of religion, economic development, and sense gratification. According to the regulations given in the Shastras, but to attain liberation, one must give up household life and place himself in the transcendental renounced order. Kashyap Muni was not in the renounced order of life, therefore he is addressed here once as Brahman and another time as Grihmedhi. Aditi, his wife, assured him that as far as household life was concerned, everything was going nicely, and the Brahmanas and cows were being honored and protected. In other words, there were no disturbances. Household life was duly progressing.
So, that was not a problem. Can someone read 12, please? Text 12.
Krishna,
Yeah,
someone
please.
must be there.
Yeah. Text 12. O beloved husband, the fire's guests, servants, and beggars are all being properly cared for by me. Because I always think of you, there is no possibility that any of the religious principles will be neglected.
So Aditi
Text
was just acting to please her husband. That was in the center of our consciousness. Then text 13 and 14.
O my Lord, since you are a Prajapati and are personally my instructor in the principles of religion, where is the possibility that all my desires will not be fulfilled? Text 14. O son of Marichi, because you are a great personality, you are equal toward all the demons and demigods who are born either from your body or from your mind and who possess one or another of the three qualities, Sattva Guna, Rajoguna, or Tamoguna. But although the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Controller, is equal toward all living entities, he is especially favorable to the devotees.
Thank
Should I
you.
read the
Thank
purpose?
later. So
Okay.
Kashyapa was the father of both the demigods, the demons. Diti was the mother of the Daityas, and Aditi was the mother of the Suras, the demigods. She says to her husband that he's equal to everyone. Diti was the mother of the Daityas, and Aditi the mother of the demigods. You are equal to everyone. This brought up many times in the Shastra as the mark of a great person. Is equal to everyone. To show favoritism, I like this one and I don't like this one. This is considered very low class. Prahlad Maharaj criticized his teachers, Sanda and Amarka, for thinking in terms of friends and enemies. In the beginning of the 7th canto, that question has been asked. How is it possible that the Lord shows favoritism? Favoritism over one against another is considered childish. It's not a mark of a great person, what to speak of the Lord. So here she's saying that regardless of the modes of material nature that someone is in, because you are so great, pure and self-realized, therefore you can't show favoritism to anyone. As the Lord is equal, samam sarvabhute, so you are equal. That is her point. Be equal to everyone. Because Krishna is equal to everyone, but ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya, that maiteshu sapyam, the Lord is equal to everyone. Samam sarvabhutishu, but still in the midst of that he shows favoritism to his devotees. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of this verse, this is natural. Although a wealthy man who is favorable to all the people working in his factory is still more inclined to his son. It is natural. So Aditi expressed her desire. Kashyapa Muni, who is the father of the demons, also shows favoritism, especially inclined to the devotees, meaning the demigods were her sons. So this is, can you read now the purport of this text 14?
Yes, Maharaj. In Bhagavad Gita 9:29, the Lord says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshosti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Although the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal toward everyone, he is especially inclined toward those who engage in his devotional service. The Lord says, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. My dear son of Kunti, please declare that my devotee will never be vanquished. Elsewhere, Krishna also says, Ye yatamam prapadyante tam sataiva bhajamyam amavartaman vartante manushya pata sarvashaha. Bhagavad Gita 4:11. Actually, everyone is trying to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead in various ways. But according to their methods of approach, the Supreme Lord endows them with different benedictions. Thus, Aditi appealed to her husband by saying that since even the Supreme Controller favors his devotees, and since Indra, Kashyapa's devoted son, was in difficulty, Kashyapa should show his favor upon Indra.
So all these verses are making the same point that Krishna is especially inclined to his devotees. 4:11 Yeyatamam papachante. This verse shows more equality. So that is Krishna's equality. The devotees approach Krishna as everything, and Krishna reciprocates and gives them everything. And the atheists approach Krishna like he's nothing, and he equally reciprocates and gives them nothing. That is perfectly fair. How is Kashyapa Muni going to deal with this? He's equal to everyone, and he had already so many experience being tricked by his wives. How is he going to deal with it? Can someone else read text 15, 16, 17? 15. Who is next?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, are you there?
Mataji, she messaged.
She cannot read.
Vishesha Prabhu, yeah. Therefore, most gentle Lord, kindly favor your maidservant. We have now been deprived of your opulence, of our opulence and residence by our competitors, the demons. Kindly give us protection.
Now
The demons.
read the next step. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Text 16. The demons, our formidably powerful enemies, have taken away our opulence, our beauty, our fame, and even our residence. Indeed, we have now been exiled, and we are drowning in an ocean of trouble. Text 17. O best of sages, best of all those who grant auspicious benedictions, please consider our situation and bestow upon my sons the benedictions by which they can regain what they have lost.
So by the potency of Sukracharya's benediction, Bali Maharaj gained the power to have heaven. And Aditi, thou thought, by the potency of your benedictions, my sons will get it back. That was the idea. And summary text 18.
Hare Krishna, text 18. Sukri Goswami continued. When Kashyapa Muni was thus requested by Aditi, he slightly smiled, else he said, how powerful is the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu, by which the entire world is bound by affection for children.
Yeah.
Text 19.
No. Wait. Kashyapa Muni has just come back from being situated in a yogic trance. Basically, upon he's being confronted here suddenly with the mentality of my sons, the sons of others. So Aditi speaks in the in the body concept of life, and he's just coming out of yogic trance, transcendence. So he's saying this is the potency of Maya. Interesting question. How powerful is the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu? Maya rules this world and is bewildering everyone continuously through affection, through enemies, through desire, through hatred. And that's confirmed by Bhagavad Gita 7.27. Ichat Vesha Samutana Dvantamaina Bharata Sarvabhutani Samam Saryeyanti Prantapa. A sign of Bharat, a conqueror of the four. All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by the dualities, arisen from desire and hate. So, born into illusion. What does it mean? This is good. This is bad. I want this. I hate that. We stay in the material world for or less forever. As long as we are absorbed in this attraction, in this aversion, we stay on the material level. And at some point, if the soul wants to get out, we need to say, I've enough. I'm not going to fall for it anymore. I don't want this itcha and this tvesha anymore. And what does he do next when he comes to that very deep realization? We need to cry out very loudly to Krishna, help me! That Krishna says in 9:14, Mayam etam tarantite. Mami vaye prapachante mayam etam tarantite. Deva yesa guna maya mama maya. This divine energy, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. Maya is just too powerful for us to overcome. The only possibility is if Krishna unlocks the door. So these are the shackles that keep us here. Maya is too powerful. We have such a bad habit of interaction with Maya. And this for countless years. We have so much karma. It is impossible for us to escape. So only if we are tired of it, or yes, oh Krishna, I've enough. Please help me, I'm weak. We have to pray continuously to Krishna. That is the cost. It is a full and continuous dependence on Krishna. One continually only depends on another when one really needs it. And what is the difference between that mood in a devotee and that mood in someone desiring liberation? It is a matter of desire, of what one actually wants. If one desires predominantly to get out of the material world, even if we are devotees, then we are not devotees. We are salvationists. If we want predominantly to get rid of suffering, then that is actually not bhakti. A devotee may want to get out of the material world by his driving force, but his driving force is to serve. And why is his driving force to serve? What impels Aditi to serve her husband? So Aditi says that she is thinking of his pleasure. Bhakta means one who loves Krishna. Of course, that is advanced. But that is what it means. Aditi seems to be unhappy because her sons are being thrown out of heaven. So Aditi pleased Kashyapa Muni to find a way to kill Indra. Kashyapa Muni gave her a way to purify her from this kind of passion-ignorant desires. But this all fits in Krishna's lila. Maya is compared to andhakar or darkness, and Krishna is compared to light. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 31. Krishna Surya Sa Maya Haya Andhakar. Yan Krishna Ta Nai Maya Adhikar. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Whenever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion will immediately vanish. So to keep always in the light of Krishna, rather than trying to remove the darkness of illusion directly, we have a different method, and that is to always keep in Krishna's sun. How? By being Krishna conscious, by serving and remembering him, trying to please him. So we cannot fight with Maya. Maya is too strong. But if we become Krishna conscious, we go into the light, then we are out of the influence of Maya. And that's the method. Srila Prabhupada in New Vrindavan said, Krishna consciousness is not difficult. The only thing we have to do is arrange our life in such a way that we cannot forget Krishna. That's all. You can have material affection too if you have sons, That is how Kunti Devi prays. Let the affection for my kinsman be removed. It does not mean the spiritual part of the affection, because there is a mixture. She's mother and she's also and also they are devotees. She does not want the motherly part. Her consciousness was not only appreciating that they are souls and they are devoted souls, and therefore my affection for them is on the spiritual platform. Aditi thought, my sons have been thrown out improperly and I don't like it. Text 19. Can someone read 19?
Hare Krishna.
Please read.
Yaduraj Prabhu, would you like to continue?
Okay. Can I read?
Yes, Madhuri, please.
Text 19. Kashyapa Muni continued, what is this material body made of 5 elements? It is different from the spirit soul. Indeed, the spirit soul is completely different from the material elements from which the body is made. But because of bodily attachment, one is regarded as a husband or son. These illusory relationships are caused by misunderstanding.
Thank you. So what is the misunderstanding? My son is produced from my body and therefore is my son. Actually, I'm a soul and he's a soul. So someone can read the purport up to the translation of Bhagavad Gita 2.13.
Next, please read.
Yeah. Who will read?
Antaranga Mataji, would you like to read?
Amritamach Anandra will not read.
No, I don't have will not read.
I will read Anandra.
Since my name is written in great
Anandra. But the spirit soul, Atma or Jiva, is certainly different from the body, which is a combination of 5 material elements. This is simple fact, but it is not understood unless one is spiritually educated. Kashyapa Muni meet his wife Aditi in the heavenly planet, but the same misconceptions extend throughout the entire universe and is also here on earth. There are different grades on living entity, but all of them are more or less under the impressions of the bodily conceptions of life. In other words, all living entity in this material world are more or less devoid of spiritual educations. The Vedic civilization, however, is based on spiritual education, and spiritual education is the special basic on which Bhagavad Gita was spoken to Arjuna. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna instructed Arjuna to understand that the spirit soul is different from the body. Asmin yada dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tadyantara pratyedira statra namayati. As the embodied soul continuously passes in the body from the boyhood to youth to old age, and the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is the bewildered by such a change. Bhagavad Gita 2.13.
Thank you.
Unfortunately,
Thank you. We
okay.
stop here for a moment. Just think about it. It is such an amazing, revolutionary concept of the material absorbed consciousness. I'm not this body. So now continue reading from, unfortunately, until you come at the very risky civilization.
Unfortunately, the spiritual education is completely absent from the modern human civilization. No one understands his real self-interest, which lie with the spirit soul, not with the material body. Education means spiritual education. To work hard in the bodily conceptions of life without spiritual education is live like an animal. Nayam Nayam dego pajam niloke kastan kaman arate vit pujam he. So Srimad Bhagavatam 5.51. People are working so hard simply for bodily comfort. Without education regard the spiritual soul, those they are living in a very risky civilization for it is the fact that the spiritual soul has to transmigrate from one body to another. That
Yeah,
yantra prakti Bhagavad Gita.
thank
Uh,
you. So, what
yes.
is the risk? Again, become a mouse or a monkey. Of the monkey, the mice, and the bird, they suffer. Just imagine to have fleas and no hands to scratch. The dogs, they are suffering so much. Flies are always bothering you, and you have no hands to push them away. Push them away with the tail, but the flies are smart enough to know how far the tail goes. So, yes. So, continue reading now till the end.
They are working blindly and blind leaders are directing them. Anda yatandir ubanir te avisa tantriyam guru damni bada 7.5.31 Srimad Bhagavatam. A foolish person does not know that he is completely under the bondage of the material nature and that after death, material nature will impose upon him a certain type of body which he will ever accept. He does not know that although he in his present body he may be a very important man, he may next get a body of an animal or tree because of his ignorant activities in the mode of material nature. Therefore, the Krishna conscious movement is try to give the true life spiritual essence to all living entity. This movement is not very difficult to understand and people must take advantage of it for it will save them from the risky life of irresponsibility.
Yeah,
Hare Krishna.
thank you. Yadraj Krishna Prabhu, we will continue reading until another 20 minutes until the first section is done, and then we will have the questions.
Okay, Maharaj.
That's
Thank you,
okay?
Nilesh.
Thank you for your patience. So, someone can read text 20 now.
Text 20. My dear Aditi, engage in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the master of everything, who can subdue everyone's enemies, and who sits within everyone's heart. Only that Supreme Person, Krishna or Vasudeva, can bestow all auspicious benedictions upon everyone, for he is the spiritual master of the universe.
Thank you. So, she had a materialistic problem, and here is the answer to her problem. It is the answer to the ultimate problem. And that is the verse Srimad Bhagavatam 2:3:10. Akama sarvakama vamoksakama udara ditrivena bhakti yogana charita purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means very strongly worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. So he's the master of everything, and he's in your heart. You serve him. Now you can read the purport.
With these words, Kashyapa Muni tried to pacify his wife. Aditi made her appeal to her material husband. Of course, that is nice, but actually, a material relative cannot do anything good for anyone. If anything good can be done, it is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Therefore, Kashyapa Muni advised his wife Aditi to begin worshipping Lord Vasudeva, who is situated in everyone's heart. He is the friend of everyone and is known as Janardana because he can kill all enemies. There are three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And above material nature, transcendental to material nature, is another existence which is called Shuddha Sattva. In the material world, the mode of goodness is considered the best, but because of material contamination, even the mode of goodness is sometimes overpowered by the modes of passion and ignorance. But when one transcends the competition between these modes and engages himself in devotional service, he rises above the three modes of material nature. In that transcendental position, one is situated in pure consciousness. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shaktidam, Srimad Bhagavatam 4.3.23. Above material nature is the position called Vasudeva, or freedom from material contamination. Only in that position can one perceive the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Thus, the Vasudeva condition fulfills a spiritual necessity. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha, Bhagavad Gita 7.19. When one realizes Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes most exalted. Paramatma, Vasudeva, is situated in everyone's heart as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The Lord says, Tesham sadata yuktanam vachatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yukam tam enamam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted and who worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hrideshe Arjuna Tishtari. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita 1861. Bhoktaram etna tapasam sarvalokam aheshwaram suhritam sarva bhutanam jnatva mam shanti vrikshati. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Bhagavad Gita 5.29. Whenever one is perplexed, let him take shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudeva Krishna, who will give the devotee intelligence to help him surpass all difficulties and return home back to Godhead. Kashyapa Muni advised his wife to seek shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva Krishna, so that all her problems would be very easily solved. Thus, Kashyapa Muni was an ideal spiritual master. He was not so foolish that he would present himself as an exalted personality as good as God. He was actually a bona fide guru because he advised his wife to seek shelter at the lotus feet of Vasudeva. One who trains his subordinate or disciple to worship Vasudeva is a truly bona fide spiritual master. The word Jagat Guru is very important in this regard. Kashyapa Muni did not falsely declare himself to be Jagat Guru, although he actually was Jagat Guru because he advocated the cause of Vasudeva. Actually, Vasudeva is Jagat Guru as clearly stated here. Vasudevam Jagat Gurum. One who teaches the instructions of Vasudeva, Bhagavad Gita, is as good as Vasudevam Jagadguru. But when one who does not teach this instruction as it is declares himself Jagadguru, he simply cheats the public. Krishna is Jagadguru, and one who teaches the instruction of Krishna as it is on behalf of Krishna may be accepted as Jagadguru. One who manufactures his own theories cannot be accepted. He becomes Jagadguru falsely. Thank you.
Thank you. Can someone else read the translation, only the translation of 21?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Text 22. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. who is very merciful to the poor, will fulfill all your desires. For devotional service unto him is infallible. Any method other than devotional service is useless. That is my opinion.
So in this verse we have the words Dina Anukampana. Is merciful to those who are poor and fallen. That means what? That so you have Amoga means sinless also. So both his wives, Kashyapa Muni, did not give different processes to its different wives, no. But the same process of Bhakti Yoga or worship of the Supreme Lord. Thus at the end of the sixth canto, and here in the eighth canto, it gives the same process. Now, further in the purport here, Kashyapa Muni saw his wife, saw that his wife Aditi, if you can read from here.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Kashyapa Muni saw that his wife Aditi had some material desires for the welfare of her sons, but still he advised her to render devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, everyone, regardless of whether he is a Karmi, Jnani, Yogi or Bhakta, should invariably take shelter of the lotus feet of Vasudeva and render transcendental loving service unto him, so that all his desires will be duly fulfilled. Krishna is Dina Anukampana. He is very merciful to everyone. Therefore, if one wants to fulfill his material desires, Krishna helps him. Of course, sometimes if a devotee is very sincere, the Lord, as a special favor to him, refuses to fulfill his material desires and directly blesses him with pure unalloyed devotional service. It is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22.38-39, Krishna kahe ama bhaje mage vishaya sukha, amrita chhadi vish mage ei bada murkha, ami bigyo ei murkhe vishay kene dibo, shacharan amrita diya vishay bhulaibo. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give this poor material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. If a devotee maintains some material desire and at the same time very sincerely desires to engage at the lotus feet of Krishna, Krishna may directly give him another devotional service and take away all his material desires and possessions. This is the Lord's special favor to devotees. Otherwise, if one takes to Krishna's devotional service but still has material desires to fulfill, he may become free from all material desires as Dhruva Maharaj did. But this may take some time. However, if a very sincere devotee wants only Krishna's lotus feet, Krishna directly gives him the position of Shuddha Bhakti, unalloyed devotional service.
Thank you. So Dhruva wanted to get a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather, Brahma, but he did not want it anymore after being purified. But Dhruva had to be king for 32,000 years because he desired it. But the Avanti Brahman, that 11th canto of the Bhagavad, he was taking everything away and he became purified. Do we want Krishna to fulfill our material desires and then go back to Godhead? Is that how we want Krishna to treat us? Or do we want to take a shortcut? That is the point Srila Prabhupada is making. We can go back in the first way, but it takes longer. We may have still so many desires, but not cultivate them. That, I want this, that. Otherwise, Krishna will fulfill them. So even if the desires are there, one can be detached from them in a subtle sense. It's not easy when there are desires to just cut them off by your intelligence and do as they are not there anymore. Srila Prabhupada explains in the fourth canto, in one of his purports, the best treatment for the mad mind is, which is the sitting place of all desires, is neglect. The desires are but I am not going to cultivate them, not encouraging to grow, give attention. What is the opposite of being poor? Dina anukampana. It is thinking oneself of possessing so much, and this is basically the definition of pride. So being poor, Dina hita tata shila harinam. Thinking of household life is basically meditating on the enjoyments available in household life. Thinking it to be the purpose of existence. This means that one's consciousness is not exalted. Kapila Muni in the third canto explains that worship of the deity without respecting all living entities is a materialistic devotee, or almost a devotee, a prakriti bhakta, not at all recommended. In the Shastra there is so much emphasis on this point. To respect all living entities. All living entities, not only the members of my tribe, not only humans, but all living entities are worthy of giving respect. Krishna is in everyone's heart. Now, after Kashyapa Muni has given a simple description, then Lord Vasudeva, who is in everyone's heart, has to be pleased. The text 12. Who can read just the translation of text 12?
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Srimati Aditi said, O Brahmana, tell me the relative principles by which I may worship the Supreme Master of the world so that he will be pleased with me and fulfill all my desires.
Yes.
Sorry, the Bhakti.
So one thing we notice here is who is the center? What is the purpose of worship? Is it simply to please the Lord? When we speak about just pleasing the Lord, Anya Bilastas Yunam Jnanakamautanavitamanukulena Krishna Nushila Bhaktutama. When first class devotional service develops, one must be devoid of all material desires, knowledge obtained by monistic philosophy and fruitive action. The desire must constantly serve Krishna favorably as Krishna desires. So, what we do not desire anything, when we do not desire anything in return, just for that pleasing, then we are in the realm of bhakti, or pure devotional service. But here she is asking for the methodology of pleasing the Lord, regulative principles, so that I can worship the Supreme Lord, so that he be pleased with me. And the purpose is, Titi says, that he will fulfill my desires. That is sakam. There is a motive in that. But as we learn from Sarva Kalana Akamava, Sarva Kama Akamava, that it all turns out for the best, because she will become purified. Important is that if one is actually worshipping the Lord, whether one has motives or not, that can someone read the purport?
Yes, Maharaj.
Thank you.
It is said, man proposes, God disposes. Thus, a person may desire many things, but unless these desires are fulfilled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they cannot be fulfilled. Fulfillment of desire is called Satya Sankalpa. Here, the word Satya Sankalpa is very important. Aditi placed herself at the mercy of her husband so that he would give her the directions by which to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead so that all her desires would be fulfilled. The disciple must first decide that he should worship the Supreme Lord, and then the spiritual master will give the disciple correct directions. One cannot dictate to the spiritual master, just as a patient cannot demand that his physician prescribe a certain type of medicine. Here is the beginning of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:16. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana suhridino arjuna artho jijnasura thati jnani cha bharadashaka. O best among the Bharadas, four kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is search of knowledge of the absolute. Aditi was Artha, a person in distress. She was very much aggrieved because her sons, the demigods, were bereft of everything. Thus she wanted to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead under the direction of her husband, Kashyapa Muni.
So Srila Prabhupada said, here is the beginning of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Before being able to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead in an unmotivated way, one has first to pass through the gate of worshipping Him in a motivated way, trying to get something in return. And then by the process of devotional service, by the practices, the methodology, then one is purified. Text 23. Yeah, can you read, please? Next one.
Shall I read, Maharaj?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. O best of the Brahmanas, kindly instruct me in the perfect method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead in devotional service, by which the Lord may very soon be pleased with me and save me along with my sons from this most dangerous condition.
You can read the purport also.
Okay?
You can.
Purport. Sometimes less intelligent men ask whether one has to approach a guru to be instructed in devotional service or spiritual advancement. The answer is given here. Indeed, not only here, but also in Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna accepted Krishna as his guru. Shishyasteham shatimam tvam pratannam. The Vedas also instruct that vijnanatham saguru ivapi gachet. One must accept a guru for proper direction if one is seriously inclined towards advancement in spiritual life. The Lord says that one must worship the Acharya, who is a representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Acharyam Mam Janiyat. One should definitely understand this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that the Guru is the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, according to all the evidence given by the Shastra and by the practical behavior of devotees, one must accept a Guru. Aditi accepted her husband as her Guru so that he would direct her how to advance in spiritual consciousness, devotional service by worshipping the Supreme Lord.
So the spiritual master must be worshipped because it is Krishna's mercy coming through him. It is a method that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned in a commentary. It is a method of worshipping the Supreme Lord. Here, he is it who is actually being worshipped. That is one way of looking at the worship of the Guru. So, yes. Now, Kashyapa Muni begins his reply. She asked about the methodology. And why is she asking that question? Because he had already instructed her. You should take shelter of the Lord and try to please Him. So the question is natural, how should I do that? So, text 24. Can someone else read, please?
Hare Krishna, Bimla Prasad Prabhu, would you like to read? Or otherwise, the Vishima, you can read.
I'm not sure if His Grace Bimla Prasad Prabhu is there. May I read, Manari? Next is me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Hare Krishna. So, text 24, Shri Kashyap Muni said, when I desired offspring, I placed inquiries before Lord Brahma, who is born from a lotus flower. Now I shall explain to you the same process Lord Brahma instructed me, by which Keshava, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is satisfied. Shall I read the purport, Mother?
No, I will read, because I will read it in pieces. So, here the process of devotional service further explains. Kashyapa Muni wanted to instruct Aditi the same process recommended to him by Brahma for satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is valuable. So the methodology of instruction by the Guru is given here. That he is not manufacturing a new process to instruct the disciple. This is called the disciplic succession. He gives the same message that Krishna is given. So the Guru does not manufacture a new process to instruct the disciple. The disciple receives from the Guru an authorized process by the Guru from his Guru. This is called the system of disciplic succession, evam parampara praptamyam amrajarsayovidu. This is the bona fide Vedic system of receiving the process of devotional service by which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. So, the prayojan or the goal is set, even though it is in a simple and basic way. The first question is that it is necessary to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second question is how to please him. The Guru Kashyapa Muni is explaining the process, not manufacturing something. He is instructing as he himself has been instructed. So can someone continue reading from this? This is a bona fide Vedic system until the end of the purport.
Sure, Mother. This is the bona fide Vedic system of receiving the process of devotional service by which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pleased. Therefore, to approach a bona fide Guru or spiritual master is essential. The bona fide spiritual master is he who has received the mercy of his Guru, who is in turn is bona fide because he has received the mercy of his Guru. This is called the parampara system. Unless one follows this parampara system, the mantra one receives will be chanted for no purpose. Nowadays, there are so many rascal gurus who manufacture their mantras as a process for material advancement, not spiritual advancement. Still, the mantra cannot be successful if it is manufactured. Mantras and the process of devotional service have special power, provided they are received from the authorized person.
So, if it is coming from one's own brain or consciousness, then it is limited, the capacity of one's own consciousness. But if the process is coming through the disciplic succession, then the results are unlimited. What is the duplicity of a rascal guru? The purpose of finding a guru is to find the absolute truth. And one cannot do this if the process is coming through one's own fertile brain. It is limited. If I'm limited, then the results of my limited thinking must be in the realm of the material world. I cannot go beyond the material world with something of the material world. So there has to be a descent from the spiritual world to the material world, and then if material things are used spiritual in a bona fide way, then when used in a proper way, then these material things will be spiritualized. But when they are not connected to anything spiritual, then the result will be again in the material world. Therefore, Golokera Premadana Harinama Sankirtan. The sound vibration comes from the spiritual realm. The process is coming from the spiritual realm. The methodology comes from the spiritual realm. And therefore it can bring us out of the material realm beyond it. Taking that as a basic philosophical fundamental point, why does Srila Prabhupada use the word rascal? What is the rascalness in the concocting? What is the cheating in it? The purpose of the system is to give something not of the material world. It is to bring someone out of the material world. That is the natural inheritance. That is the purpose of Shastra. Vedasa Sarvam Ameva Vedya. That either the quote of Rascal Guru, who are manufacturing mantras, are trying to deliver material goods using a spiritual process. And by doing that, they are rascals. They are trying to gain something for themselves and deliver something material, or they are promising something spiritual, but don't have the capacity to deliver something spiritual. So in either case, they are rascals. And within the concept of rascal is that we should know better of this. There is an element of duplicity in there, conscious duplicity. That is not innocent or just ignorance. Otherwise, the word rascal would be inappropriate, and it is that what Srila Prabhupada means. There is a cheating in there. That in the purport he writes, still the mantra cannot be successful if it is manufactured. Pujan Prabhu said, Srila Prabhupada is referring to a specific guru who is selling mantras for a long time to get something material and promising something material. And Srila Prabhupada did not appreciate that because it was hypocrisy. And he was taking advantage of the spiritual ignorance of the people he was marketing to. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, mantras and the process of devotional service have special power, provided they are received from the authorized person. Now Kashyapa Muni is going to explain this process that he had heard through the disciplic succession from Lord Brahma. And by this process, not by a material process, but coming from the spiritual world and endowed with spiritual energy, the Supreme Lord is pleased. And that, what bhakti is, it is pleasing to the Lord with his own internal energy. One must come in contact with that eternal energy to please the Lord. And therefore Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. The Mam Bhaktya Pranashat. The bhakti is the part that is pleasing. Bhaktya Pran. Yeah, the devotion which is Krishna's eternal energy. And that is what the giving is carrying. There is Krishna's eternal energy. And when one has that, then any offering is pleasing to Krishna. Even if it is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, just a leaf, flower or water. And if one doesn't has that, as Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, when there is no devotion, no purity and sincerity in the offering, then no matter what one is offering, it's not going to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Duryodhana, who brought Krishna to his capital to try to bring Krishna to his side against the Pandavas, and to please Krishna, he cooked hundreds of preparations to present them to Krishna to please him. Because if one feeds you well, you naturally feel affection for that person. You naturally feel obliged to that person. But he wanted something. It wasn't to please Krishna, but to get Krishna obliged so that Krishna would take his side during the battle of Kurukshetra. Krishna would not touch that food. Even it was the king's food, very opulent. And instead he went to the house of Vidura. Vidura wasn't there, but his wife was there, who was a great devotee. She was so thrilled that Krishna was there. And Krishna said, I haven't eaten. Please give me something to eat immediately. It is a pastime, of course. She said, oh my Lord, we didn't cook anything. But Krishna said, whatever you have, I'll take. So she said, we have some bananas. Okay, give me those. In her excitement, what did she do? She threw away the bananas and handed Krishna the peels. And what did Krishna do? He ate the peels. So this is a similar story in the Ramayana, where a lady took the boiled fruits, sabari, She wanted to make sure that the bale fruits were sweet enough. She would bite them first and then hand them to Krishna. One is not supposed to do that. There was simple devotion into that, and Lord Ram was accepting it. It is a devotion that is essence. We are following the rules and regulations because it is pleasing to Krishna. This is an element of devotion, even if it is not yet spontaneous. We do it, yes, we do it the way Krishna wants it. Let me do it in that way. It may not be done what I like, and maybe this, maybe that, but that attempt to please and to get ourselves out of the center and to please Krishna, that is the essence. That is bhakti. But put Krishna in the center, and the opposite is what for the material world is made, that is selfishness. That is displeasing to us. What to speak of others? It is just simply business. When you go to a shop and you want something, then they give you what you want. But you always know that they are more getting than that they are getting more than they are giving. So it is not pleasing to the heart, this exchange in a shop, because there is no devotion, there is no love. This is the essence of spiritual life. There is a specific order that the purpose are going in. First you accept the Guru, and what is his qualification? It is just that he will give you the methodology that he has gotten, and that comes from the spiritual source. And it is not something that he himself is going to manufacture, because the result of something manufactured in the material world is going to be limited to the realm of the material world. But it has to be entering from the spiritual world. The process must be received from the spiritual source, meaning someone who is in the disciplic succession. So here is the beginning of the process that is described. The fundamental principles have been described already. So this is what Brahma himself had learned. So we will stop here. We have a break. Does anyone first have a question? We can have 5 minutes for questions and 10 minutes break.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Because Maharaj, earlier we saw that one verse says that Lord Indra has the power to push down anyone who are not qualified to enter heaven. But here we see the demons who definitely have a very sinful activity, how they can enter the heaven.
Yeah, that has been explained, that at one side, the demons, they were worshipping their guru, Sukracharya, with great devotion. And Lord Indra, once he was receiving great puja, the Indra puja in heaven, everyone was, and they were chanting, and he was sitting on the throne with Sachi, and Brihaspati, spiritual master, appeared. And he did not get up, Indra. He just continued to receive his worship, and then the spiritual master disappeared. So once Brihaspati gave his he gave his garland to Indra, and Indra put it on the head of Airavata. Was it Brihaspati or Brihomuni? I think it was Brihomuni.
Durvasa Muni. Durvasa.
Durvas, okay. Yeah. And so it took, the Airavata took, being an animal, took the garland, smashed it on the ground with his trunk and trampled on it. Anyway, but important is to know that the the guru, the power comes from worshipping the guru. And the demons became so strong. And Indra, having made offenses to his guru, had no power, lost his power, was diminished. So therefore the demons could enter the heavenly planets, but it was only temporary, because to stay there they had to cultivate piety. And we will see it will be very short term in the next chapters. Okay, good.
Yes, thank you for the answer on that.
Yeah. I don't know, was it Brighamuni or Brihaspati who appeared? I think it was Brighamuni. Anyway,
Brihaspati is Guru.
Brihaspati, okay. My memory fails also sometimes. But we will now have a break. It's 5 o'clock, so it's still 5:15. We'll continue. We may go a little longer today to finish it, because it's a long chapter and an important chapter. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Recording stopped.
Ja, wat van dat sap drinken. Wilt je ook wat?
Ja, ja.
Ja. Zo.
Ja, het is een groot hoofdstuk, ik heb het vannacht gelezen. Hans, ja.
Je zult het nu ook gaan zo,
Ja, ja.
het hele proces.
Ik denk dat ik er een uur of 2 over gelezen heb. Ongelooflijk.
Je kunt het dan nog voor andere dingen. En dat.
Ah ja.
Gaan we terug. Gaan we terug beginnen.
Heb je die stoel nodig? Nee, waarschijnlijk. Nee. De stoel zit ik al uit.
Hare Krishna. So we will continue
Recording in progress.
with text 25. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, February and March, for 12 days ending with Vardasi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. So, there is that wonderful pastime in Chaitanya Bhagavat where this brahmachari tried to get into the kirtans and Mahaprabhu chastised him so heavily, saying, "Do you think that just by only drinking milk you are going to please the Lord and advance? Is that going to please him?" He was so upset with that. The essence here is the attempt of to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose eyes are like a lotus with all devotion. So, worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu with devotion means following Archanamach. That's the first line of the purport. That Archanamach is one of the 8 processes of devotional service. Dat Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Pad Sevanam, Archanam van Archanam Vadnam Dasyam Sakyam Atmani Vedanam. That Archanam is deity worship, and deity worship is recommended for everyone. So Shiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he explains that there are no foundational qualifications required, such as being born in a particular family or having a particular gender, that there is no disqualification. Everyone should be doing some form of deity worship or participating in deity worship, because deity means God. This is such wonderful training to develop devotion. So it said further, can someone read the purport? One should install the deity. You can read till the end of the purport.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Please, go on.
One should install the deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer a flame, incense, and so on, while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only drinking milk. This is called Payovrata. As we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwadashi one not consume anything but milk. Payovrata and Archana, devotional service to the Supreme Lord, should be performed with a pure devotional attitude, bhaktya. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi Tatvataha, Bhagavad Gita 18.55. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take to the process of bhakti, as recommended here. Also, bhaktya paramayanvitaha. One should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service.
So one should be surcharged. What imaginary does that bring up? What does that mean to you? Electrified is a good metaphor. Filled with bhakti, one's existence, one's consciousness filled with bhakti, then activity is not mechanical. It is devotional. What does devotional mean? His pleasure is giving pleasure to the object of worship. So that's the essence. That he is to be pleased, and one's consciousness must actually be filled with it. How to do this in such a way that the Lord is pleased. So therefore cleanliness, punctuality, all this is coming into play because this is going to please him. And then when there is love, when there is devotion, then worship is pleasing. Does anyone has the experience that if someone is angry and cooks for you, or the other experience that you are angry to someone and you cook for them? That it's like airplane food. They put it before you and you just can't eat it. How different is it if you go to someone's house and they are really happy to see you? Please sit down. Please eat this. It is made for, I made this for you. Then naturally one wants to eat it. It is the affection from one side who is offering that makes the appetite grow, that makes one happy. That's what's pleasing. The affection as part of a gift. The gift itself is external manifestation of the affection, the internal mood. And that is what bhakti is. We do our deity worship, we take a bell and ring it. We wave a lamp or some incense. Now if someone is waving a lamp in front of you, just that in itself is not going to give you pleasure or fun or something like that. But when it is done purposely with devotion, that is what is pleasing to Krishna. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga means not only the externals or the ritual part, but one should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Surcharged, fill one consciousness with devotion. Then whatever one is offering, even a banana peel will become tasty to the Lord. It is not the recommended item for offering. It is a devotion that increases Krishna's hunger. A devotee wrote Srila Prabhupada a letter about the different mantras used in deity worship. And Srila Prabhupada answered the letter in a very simple way. He asked about the mantras when you call the deity to take rest, and what mantras you use when you call the deity to wake up. But, yeah, Srila Prabhupada said, what you do is you say, my dear Lord, please come and take rest now. That Bhujan Prabhu said, I remember reading that and I was so disappointed because at that point of life I wanted some technical things that I could show off with, or getting to know something very esoteric. I thought, why Srila Prabhupada giving something so simple? He may be thinking that these Westerners don't know Sanskrit. Years later I looked at it, that Srila Prabhupada, rather than withholding us something esoteric, he was giving the most essential thing. He was giving the heart of it, the essence of it. Krishna, please, you must be tired standing all day long. Please come and take rest now. So if we will read through all these instructions, please remember that bhakti is the essence. The rituals and mantras appear to be esoteric, but they are as exoteric. They are external. Not that we can neglect the external. If you perform a process in a specific way, you don't make up things. Because it is coming down from the Lord. It is a spiritual process. Its origin is in the spiritual realm. You can't shift anything because you like this and don't like that, but yet we should always remember what the essence is. So text 26 and 27. Can someone read them? 26. Yeah, please.
Yeah. If dirt developed by a boat is available on the day of the dark moon, one should smear this dirt on his body, then bathe in the flowing river. While bathing, one should chant the following mantra.
Here is a mantra.
Text 27. Yeah. O Mother Earth, you were raised by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of a boat because of your desire to have a place to stay. I pray that you kindly vanquish all the reactions of, of my sinful life. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
Yes, it are the reactions of our previous life that gives us trouble and stop us from moving forward. Because we are filled with so many things. It is trying to listen to radio. When you have so many channels coming in, then you can't hear the one you are aiming for. There is so much interference from other channels. That is what it is like to have all these spiritual desires due to one's previous karma always in your consciousness. Then it becomes difficult to focus on what is truly valuable. What is the metaphor of the boar? What did Varadev do? Raise the earth from a filthy place? My consciousness is in a filthy place and I need your help to elevate me. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. So, can someone read text 28 and 29?
Thereafter, one should perform his daily spiritual duties and then with great attention offer worship to the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and also to the altar, the sun, water, fire and spiritual master.
Next. Yeah.
O Supreme Personality of Godhead, greatest of all, who lives in everyone's heart and in whom everyone lives, O witness of everything, O Vasudeva, supreme and all-pervading person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
So text 29 relates to Kshirodakasai Vishnu. The Lord is a person, but unlimitedly expansive and all-pervading. Text 30.
I offer my
I offer my
respectful.
respectful.
Yeah, please continue.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Natish.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Person. Being very subtle, you are never visible to material eyes. You are the knower of the 24 elements and you are the inaugurator of the Sankhya Yoga system.
Thank you. So the inauguration of the Sankhya Yoga system, asked Lord Kapiladev. Each of these verses we can speak about because they describe aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So can you read also the purport, Mata, please?
Chatur Vimshat Guna. The 24 elements are the 5 gross elements earth, water, fire, air, and ether. The 3 subtle elements mind, intelligence, and false ego. The 10 senses 5 for working and 5 for acquiring knowledge. The 5 sense objects and contaminated consciousness. These are the subject matter of Sankhya Yoga, which was inaugurated by Lord Kapila Deva. This Sankhya Yoga was again propounded by another Kapila, but he was an atheist and his system is not accepted as bona fide.
Yes. Also, so all mantras come from the Supreme Lord. You can also read text 31.
Translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have 2 heads, Prayaniya and Udayaniya. 3 legs, Savanatraya. 4 horns, the 4 Vedas, and 7 hands, the 7 Chandas, such as Gayatri. I offer my obeisances unto you, whose heart and soul are the 3 Vedic rituals, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, and Upasana Kanda, and who expand these rituals in the form of sacrifice.
So Lord Borg is the Jagyapurus, is object of all pleasure, of all Vedic sacrifices. Text. Can someone else read text 22 and 23? I mean 32 and 33.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, Lord Shiva, or Rudra, who are the reservoir of all potencies, the reservoir of all knowledge, and master of everyone.
Yeah, text 33 now.
I offer my respectful obeisance unto you, who are suited as Hiranyagarbha, the source of life, the super soul of every living entity. Your body is the source of opulence of all mystic power. I offer my respectful obeisance unto you.
So the Lord is the object of devotion of the yogis. His body contains the potencies that give the yogis the mystic siddhis or perfections they desire. But they can never become him. The goal is the Supreme Person, but it is not to become the Supreme Person. We can never become the reservoir of mystic potencies. So I offer my respectful obeisance unto you. Your body is the source of the opulence of all mystic powers. Now, text 34. Someone else can read 34 and 35.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are the original personality of Godhead, the witness in everyone's heart, and the incarnation of Narayana Rishi in the form of a human being. O personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
And 35.
My Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who are dressed in yellow garments, whose bodily hue resembles the Markata gem, and who have full control over the goddess of fortune. O my Lord Keshava, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you.
So the Markata gem, kind of sapphire, that text 36. Someone else can read 36 till up to 39.
Yes, Maharaj, Hare Krishna. Text 36. Translation. O most exalted and worshipable Lord, best of those who bestow benediction, you can fulfill the desires of everyone, and therefore those who are sober for their own welfare worship the dust of your lotus feet.
So,
Text 37.
just a
Yes,
moment.
sir.
It is sober here. So the opposite of sober is drunk. What is the quality of a person who is intoxicated? He does not see the reality as it is. He doesn't see things as they are. Who sees things? Sober means one who sees things in a proper perspective. Accurately, not intoxicated by the bodily concept of life, unlimited material desires, etc. We should not be bewildered by those things. Continue reading until text now 39,
Yes,
37
Maharaj.
first.
Text 37 translation. All the demigods as well as the goddess of fortune engage in the service of his lotus feet. Indeed, they respect the fragrance of those lotus feet. May the Supreme Personality of Godhead be pleased with me. Text 38 translation. Kashyap Muni continued by chanting all these mantras, welcoming the Supreme Personality of Godhead with faith and devotion, and offering him items of worship such as Padya and Ardhya, one should worship Keshav, Rishikesh, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 39 translation. In the beginning, the devotee should chant the Dwadashakshara mantra and offer garlands, incense, and so on. After worshipping the Lord in this way, one should bathe the Lord with milk and dress him with proper garments, a sacred thread, and ornaments. After offering water to wash the Lord's feet, one should again worship the Lord with fragrant flowers, incense, and other paraphernalia. Hare Krishna.
So this is clearly the process of deity worship. You can read also the small purport.
Yes, Maharaj. Okay. The Dwadash Akshar mantra is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. While worshipping the deity, one should ring a bell with his left hand and offer Padya, Ardhya, Vastra, Gandha, Mala, Avaran, Bhushan, and so on. In this way, one should bathe the Lord with milk, dress him, and again worship him with all paraphernalia. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj.
Abarambusha means decorate with ornaments. Padya means washing the feet. Arghya means offering spices, water. Ganda, fragrance. Mala, garland. And now, if someone can read from text 40 till 46.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes, please.
Text 40. If one can afford to, one should offer the deity fine rice boiled in milk with clarified butter and molasses. While chanting the same original mantra, one should offer all this to the fire. Text 41. One should offer all the prasad to a Vaishnava or offer him some of the prasada and then take some oneself. After this, one should offer the deity Achmana and then bitter nut and then again worship the Lord. Text 42. Thereafter, one should silently murmur the mantra 108 times and offer prayers to the Lord for his glorification. Then one should circumambulate the Lord and finally, with great delight and satisfaction, offer obeisances, falling straight like a road, Dandvat. Text 43. After touching to one's head all the flowers and water offered to the deity, one should throw them into a sacred place. Then one should feed at least 2 brahmanas with sweet rice. Text 44-45. One should perfectly honor the respectable brahmanas one has fed, and then, after taking their permission, one should take prasad with his friends and relatives. For that night, one should observe strict celibacy and the next morning after bathing again, while purity and with purity and attention, one should bathe the deity of Vishnu with milk and worship him according to the method formally stated in detail. Text 46.
Yeah, please.
Worshipping Lord Vishnu with great faith and devotion and living only by drinking milk, one should follow this vow. One should also offer oblation to the fire and feed the brahmanas as mentioned before.
Yeah,
Text.
yeah. When it is speaking here about only taking prasad oneself after offering to the Vaishnavas, it is meant taking the milk prasad. Offering everything to Krishna and oneself is only drinking milk, living very simple. It depends on how much devotion one has. If one has no devotion and if one is very hungry, and then one is offering all these opulent foods. So, Bhujan Prabhu mentioned when the deity worship just started in Los Angeles, they were cooking opulent and tasty, fragrant foods, carrying it to the deities. They were not covering it when they brought it to the deities. They were carrying it during the Sunday feast to the deities, and one of the guests saw this and said, "Who is that for?" With the silver plates and etc. like that. It was the first time he had been there. The devotee replied that those are for the deities. The guest replied, "How long does you have to be here before you become a deity?" The material mind becomes envious and thinks, I want this for me. One is immediately confronted with the great enemy, and that is the mind and the false ego. So what this kind of worship does it puts one directly in confrontation. That is what bhakti does. It makes you confront the selfishness and the false ego and the idea that I should be the center and that I should be the enjoyer and not Krishna. One gets really to the point, to the heart of the matter. We should be pleased. Who should be pleased? Who is the center of existence? If one performs the pose of bhakti in a proper way under guidance, this means that we need to learn the discipline of obedience. In following this type of procedures while not using sight of the actual essence, which is devotion, to do what the Guru is saying with devotion, here for 12 days in a row, with devotion and faith, especially nowadays, that is not simple, and it is not possible, and therefore we don't use this methodology. Even it seems so simple, it is quite difficult. So you are only drinking milk, and you have to feed someone else. And you have to treat them respectfully and nicely and sweetly. Perfectly honor the Brahmins and one has fed, and then only taking milk yourself. So, can someone else read text 47, 48, and 49?
In this way, until 12 days have passed, one should observe this Payovrata, worshipping the Lord every day, executing the routine duties, performing sacrifices, and feeding the Brahmanas.
48.
From Pratipat until the 13th day of the next bright moon, Shukla Trayodashi, one should observe complete celibacy, sleep on the floor, bathe 3 times a day, and thus execute the vows.
49.
During this period, one should not unnecessarily talk of material subjects or topics of sense gratification. One should be completely free from envy of all living entities, and one should be pure and simple devotee of Lord Vasudeva.
So that means that one's mind must be controlled, and when one is not practicing celibacy, then it's not possible to follow this process for 12 days. It is not easy. So I will read 50. Thereafter, following the directions of the Shastra will help with help from Brahmins who know the Shastra. On the 13th day of the moon, one should bathe Lord Vishnu with 5 substances: milk, yogurt, ghee, sugar, and honey. This is the Panchamrita. Can someone else read from 51 till 54?
Krishna Maharaj, giving up the miserly habit of not spending money, one should arrange for the gorgeous worship of the Supreme Personality Godhead Vishnu, who is situated in the heart of every living entity. With great attention, one must prepare an oblation of grains boiled in ghee and milk, and must chant the Purusha Sukta mantra. The offering of food should be of varieties of tastes. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality Godhead.
Yeah.
One should satisfy.
Yeah, continue.
One should satisfy the spiritual master Acharya, who is very learned in Vedic literature, and should satisfy his assistant priest, known as Hota, Udgata, Udvaryu, and Brahma. One should please them by offering them clothing, ornaments, and cows. This is the ceremony called Vishnu Aradhana, or worship of Lord Vishnu. O most auspicious lady, one should perform all the ceremonies under the direction of learned acharyas and should satisfy them and their priest. By distributing prasad, one should also satisfy the brahmanas and others who have assembled.
So at the conclusion of the ceremony, everyone should be satisfied. Now just satisfy God and give trouble to every other living entity and neglect everyone else? No, everyone is going to be satisfied, and this is actually so pleasing to the heart. And therefore, to just worship the Lord and disrespect other living entities is not actual devotion, but making the attempt to please all living entities, especially the Lord, is devotion. Can 55, can someone read 55, only the translation?
Alright, man.
Yep, please.
Okay. One should satisfy the spiritual master and assistants priests by giving them clothes, ornaments, cows, and also some monetary contribution. And by distributing prasad, one should satisfy everyone assembled, including even the lowest of men, the chandalas, eaters of dog flesh.
So no one is excluded. One who is attempting to please the Lord is respectful to all living entities, because he is considering himself a servant, and because he is serving Krishna, he is serving everyone. Can someone read? Yeah, you can also read the purport.
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
In the Vedic Come again?
It was Rakshmi Bhakti's turn to read. I would request her to read, please.
But like Maharaj asked me to continue. In the Vedic system, prasad is distributed as recommended here, without discrimination as to who may take the prasad, regardless of whether one should be a Brahmana, Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya, or even the lowest of men, a Chandal, he should be welcome to accept prasad. However, when the Chandalas, the lower class or poor class, are taking prasad, this does not mean that they have become Narayana or Vishnu. Narayan is situated in everyone's heart. This does not mean Narayan is a Chandal or poor man. The Mayava philosophy of accepting a poor man as Narayan is the most envious and atheistic movement in Vedic culture. This mentality should be completely given up. Everyone should be given the opportunity to take prasad. This does not mean that everyone has the right to become Narayan.
Yeah. So Mahatma Gandhi gave the name Harijan to the poor people of God, and as such give them some feeling of status, of as if only the poor people are the people of God. but it was a materialistic reasoning. So similarly, this Daridra Narayan or Poor Narayan is also materialistic reasoning. Everyone should be given the opportunity to take prasad, but this does not mean that everyone has the right to become Narayan. So, in the next verse, 56, will explain that we first please others and then we take prasad. Can someone read text 56 and 57? Someone else, thank you.
Hare Krishna Rasmai Mataji. Mataji is not there. Shishma Prabhu, you can continue.
One should distribute Vishnu Prasada to everyone, including the poor man, the blind man, the non-devotee, and the non-Brahmana. Knowing that the Lord Vishnu is very pleased when everyone is sumptuously fed with Vishnu Prasada, the performer of Yajna should then take Prasada with his friends and relatives.
Okay, fifth.
Continuing from Pradipad to Trayodashi, one should continue the ceremony to the accompaniment of dancing, singing, the beating of a drum, the chanting of prayers and all auspicious mantras, and recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
So to have the atmosphere joyous and auspicious is very uplifting for the consciousness. And when the mantras and the Bhagavatam are chanted, it becomes auspicious and fully spiritual. So 58.
58.
Do you want to read?
This is a religious ritualistic ceremony known as Vayavrata, by which one may worship the Supreme Personality Godhead. I received the information from Brahma, my grandfather, and now I have described it to you in all details.
Yeah, 59.
O most fortunate lady, establishing your mind in good spirit, execute this process of Vayavrata, and thus worship the Supreme Person, the Godhead Kesava, who is inexhaustible.
So, O most fortunate lady, that is how he's speaking to his wife. In a good spirit, devotional service to the Supreme Lord should be done in a good mood, not resentfully, otherwise it is not devotional. Can someone else read from text 60 till 62, only the translations?
Thank you. This Payovrata is also known as Sarva Yajna. In other words, by performing this sacrifice, one can perform all other sacrifices automatically. This is also acknowledged to the best of this is also acknowledged to be the best of all ritualistic ceremonies. O gentle lady, it is the essence of all austerities, and it is a process of giving charity and pleasing the Supreme Controller.
Text 61 now.
This is the best process for pleasing the transcendental Supreme Personality of Godhead known as Adhokshaja. It is the best of all regulative principles, the best austerity, the best process of giving charity, and the best process of sacrifice.
Then the last text.
Therefore, my dear gentle lady, follow this ritualistic vow, strictly observing the regulative principles. By this process, the Supreme Person will very soon be pleased with you and will satisfy all your desires.
So now we go back to 60. 60 purport. So in text 61 we heard adoxia. Adoxia means that one is unrealizable by one's sensory power. Aditi had entered into this having a specific desire. Kashyapa Muni's answer was that if you please the Lord, your desire will be fulfilled. And what was that desire? That Indra, her son, would be reinstated as the king of heaven, and that Bali Maharaj and all the other Asuras would be removed. Now, can someone read this purport of 60, which is on the screen now? That someone else maybe? Next one.
Aradhananam sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam param. This is a statement made by Lord Shiva to Parvati. Worshipping Lord Vishnu is a supreme process of worship, and how Lord Vishnu is worshipped in this Payovrata ceremony has now been fully described. The ultimate goal of life is to please Lord Vishnu by Varnashrama Dharma. The Vedic principles of 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas are meant for worship of Vishnu. Vishnur Aradhyade Pantha Nanyat Tat Dosha Karanam. The Krishna consciousness movement is also Vishnu Aradhanam, or worship of Lord Vishnu according to the age. The Payovrata method of Vishnu Aradhanam was enunciated long ago by Kashyapa Muni to his wife Aditi in the heavenly planets, and the same process is bona fide on earth even now. Especially for this age of Kali, the process accepted by the Krishna consciousness movement is to open hundreds and thousands of Vishnu temples, temples of Radha Krishna, Jagannath, Balaram, Sitaram, Gauranitai, and so on, performing prescribed worship in such temples of Vishnu, and thus worshipping the Lord is as good as performing the Payovrata ceremony recommended here. The Payovrata ceremony is performed from the 1st to the 13th day of the bright fortnight of the moon, but in our Krishna consciousness movement, Lord Vishnu is worshipped in every temple according to a schedule of 24 hours of engagement in performing kirtana, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, offering palatable food to Lord Vishnu, and distributing this food to Vaishnavas and others. These are authorized activities, and if the members of the Krishna consciousness movement stick to these principles, they will achieve the same result one gains by observing the Payovrata ceremony. Thus, the essence of all auspicious activities such as performing yajna, giving in charity, observing vratas, and undergoing austerities is included in the Krishna consciousness movement. The members of this movement should immediately and sincerely follow the processes already recommended. Of course, sacrifice is meant to please Lord Vishnu. Yajnai Sankirtana Prayer Jantihi Sumedhasaha. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32. In Kali Yuga, those who are intelligent perform the Sankirtana Yajna. One should follow this process conscientiously.
So Srila Prabhupada says this process of Payavrata is legitimate and bona fide, but the same result is achieved by the Krishna conscious movement. Don't follow the wildly unruly mind, but choose carefully a bona fide process and stick to it. Follow it sincerely, carefully. This includes the process for this age, the Sankirtan Jahya. Can someone else read the purport of 61? This is the last purport.
Okay, ma'am. The Supreme Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 1866, Sarvadharman Parityajaya Mamekam Saranam Vrija Tvam Sarvapapyo Mukshayayami Mascha. But then all varieties of religions and jeers surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. Unless one pleases the Supreme Personality Body according to his demand, no good result will come from any of his actions. Dharma swanistista pumsam visvaksenagadeshu va not padiyedi radim srama eva kevalam. The occupational activities a man perform according to his own position are only too much useless labor if they do not provoke attractions for the message of the personality body. Bhagavatam 1.2 Point 8. If one is not interested in the satisfying Lord Vishnu birthday, all his so-called auspicious activity useless. Moga sa moga karmano moga jnana with a vitasa, because he is bewildered, he is baffled in his hopes, baffled in his activities, and baffled in his knowledge. In this regard, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti remarked, Na pumsakam anapumsakeniti adinaikatvam. One cannot equate the potence and the important. Among modern Mayavadis, it has become fashionable to say that whatever one does or whatever path one follow is all right. But these are all foolish statements. Here it is forcefully affirmed that this is the only method for success in life. Iswara tarpanam vina sarvam eva viphalam. Unless Lord Vishnu is satisfied, all of one's pious activities, ritualistic ceremony, and yachanas are simply for show and have no value. Unfortunately, foolish people do not know the secret of success. Na te vidu swarta katim e Vishnu. They do not know that real self-interest and in pleasing Lord Vishnu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we need to know the goal, which is to please the Lord with devotion. Then the process, otherwise the process will not work. Shama eva ekevalam. Yatamat tatum pat. Whatever you do, whatever path you follow, will bring you to the absolute truth. This is a foolish statement of the Mayavadis. All religious activities have their goal, and this is bhakti. We should not do only the external things, activities, but internally act with bhakti. So this is the end of this chapter, and tomorrow we will hear about the results of the performance of this Jahya by Aditi. So any question, comments? So okay. There are no questions or comments. We look forward to see you tomorrow. Oh, Amali Manjari has a
Hare
question
Krishna
or comment.
Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
It's so nice. The last part Prabhupada says we don't have to do all these. We can just have worship of Vishnu in the temples.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a difficult process. That
Yes.
it looks simple, but
Yes.
to do that 12 days. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We have a
Yes,
simpler
Maharaj. Thank you.
process. Thank you very
Yes.
much. I'm looking forward to see you tomorrow for the last two chapters. These are shorter chapters. Oh, we have still Pandavasaki Kripa Mataji. We will hear. Yeah.
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Just a small query, Maharaj. In one of the purports we read that on Ekadashi we
Yeah.
should be fasting
Yeah.
from grains, and on Dvadashi we should take milk. So I was just wondering about this, Maharaj.
So say that again.
Maharaj, we read in one of the purports, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I forgot the number, where it is mentioned that on Ekadashi we should fast from grains, and on Dvadashi we should take just milk. It was written by Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports. I noted it down, but somehow I'm just missing the number.
Of Dvadashi, we are breaking the fast.
Yes, Maharaj. That's what I was wondering. It's
Yeah.
written we should take milk on Dvadashi.
Yeah, but this is a different process here.
So that is a part of the Payograt, Maharaj, that Srila Prabhupada is explaining here.
I don't know the context that you are speaking about. I must read the verse for that, but
Maharaj, it's verse number 25, purport.
25.
Yes, Maharaj.
Moment. We will bring it again on the screen.
Yes, Maharaj.
Just a moment. Share 25. Have to go back. Just a moment. 25 purport. Here is a purport.
Yes, Maharaj, just below it. Just 2-3 lines more. Yes. Oh, no, it's no. Yes, Maharaj, where it's Ekadashi, it's written, as we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwachi one not consume anything but milk.
As we generally perform. Yes, I don't know that my Guru said we should fast. First class fasting is fasting fully until next day, noontime. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yes.
Regarding this matter, 25, I once attended a Mayapur. That time, Janivas Prabhu, Pangajari Prabhu, Sannyasi drinking the milk. They have full fasting.
Yeah.
They have mixed with the milk and water, not fully milk.
Yeah.
They say digestion for the full fast only.
Okay.
Listen that.
Yeah, that is what I would say. That's Bhakti Maharaj also said first class means one fast till the noon of the Dvadasi. And yeah, anyway, thank you. That may be exceptional.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, that Mother Rasamai, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, reading from the translation, it seems that in the bright fortnight in the month of Falguna for 12 days ending with Dwadashi. So that means for 12 days ending with Dwadashi, one should observe the vow subsisting only on milk. So when you start on the bright fortnight of Falguna and then on the Dwadasi you end the fast with, all the days you just subsist on milk, and on that Dwadasi also you subsist on milk. So that's what I understand, Maharaj.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. This is a full 12 days. That until the beginning of the 13th day. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. Jai Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Zo, alleen melk vandaag?
Ja.
De melk is niet zo goed.
Niet op deze planeet.